Mm. All right. We have hit 8 o'clock. What it do, resilience warriors. I'm Coach Angela or Coach Vibe, whichever you choose. I'm known to some as Vibe and I'm known to others as Angela. And I'm thrilled to have you join me today for our live discussion on chapters 5 and 6 of The Power of Intention by Dr. Wayne Dyer. Whether you're here live or watching the replay on YouTube, I'm excited to share and explore these insights with you. If you want in on the live discussions and mental currency, join us. All of the things that we're doing over there, over at the Air Method Network group on Facebook. Today, we're going to dive into the key themes of these chapters, reflect on how they apply to our lives, and have an interactive discussion. So make sure you're commenting and share your thoughts and your questions as we go along or as you watch the replay. All right, so let's start with chapter 5, which focuses on creativity, kindness, and love. And these qualities are essential in shaping our intentions and experiences. I'll share some insights on each of these and how they can be actively cultivated in our lives as I read through what I found that jumped out to me. Now, creativity, kindness, and love are part of the 7 intentions. Well, the 7 faces of intention. Okay. And chapter 5, okay? Chapter 5 is your impact on others when connected to intention. This chapter was like a dose of get yourself in check, okay? Get your energy right because your energy does interfere and it can mess with someone else's. The quote that I highlighted that he had in the beginning of the book says, "It is one of the most beautiful compensations of this life that no man can sincerely try to help another without helping himself. Serve and thou shalt be served." And that's by Ralph Waldo Emerson. I love the quotes in this book and the time that he took to research these things in this book, because it's all about going with what resonates with you. That's what it's all about. And one of the things that I highlighted was you'll begin seeing in others what you're feeling within yourself. This new way of seeing will enable people in your presence to feel comforted and peaceful, and to indirectly be loving accomplices to your connection to intention. And that is so true because I have been witnessing it as we have been going through this book this month. I have encountered that right there. I have encountered someone who has taken me on as their mentor and helping them build their resilience and share that knowledge that I have been sharing with them, and they have done just what it says right there. Enable people in your presence to feel comforted and peaceful. And she even told me that she was having a bad day. And I had sent her a text and she said, I read that text 20 times and I'm even going to type it out and put it on my wall because that's how much you inspired me to keep going, to be motivated. So I got up and I started doing something. So you can impact as many people as you can. Oh my gosh, who's that? Oh, that's Miss Candy. I should have known that was you, Miss Candy. Hello, hello, hello. All right, so now you receive what you desire for others. Chapter 5. As you receive the attributes of the universal intention and simultaneously vow to be those attributes, you begin to see the significance of what you desire for all others. If you desire peace for others, you'll receive it. If you want others to feel love, you'll be the recipient of love. If you see only beauty and worthiness in others, you'll have the same return to you. You'll only give away what you have in your heart and attract what you're giving away. This is a matter of great concern to you. Your impact on others, whether it be strangers, family members, co-workers, or neighbors, is evidence of the strength of your connection to the power of intention. Think of your relationships in terms of holy or unholy. And when I tell you that I'm not just reading this, like I have been practicing this since 2008, being in the power of intention. And what I just read to you is the God's honest truth. Like, it is the truth that when you give what you give out, it will come back to you. Like, if you giving goodness and kindness, that's all you'll encounter in your day is goodness and kindness. I didn't start encountering anything negative until I started being in that negative realm and going back into that energy, that low energy, as he states in the book, the high energy, the low energy. That's when I start going backwards. When I stay in the seven phases of intention, the universe gives, and there's a limited abundance, and God just I feel it. I feel faith. I feel that mustard seed. I just know. It's a knowing, like he says in the book. It's a knowing. When you recognize others' holiness, you'll treat them as divine expressions of the power of intention, wanting nothing from them. The irony is that they become co-creators, manifesting all your desires. Want nothing from them, demand nothing from them, have no expectations for them, and they'll return their kindness. That right there, I just highlighted that because it was like, wow, wanting nothing from them, that's unconditional right there. That right there means unconditional love. It behooves you to be acutely aware of what you truly want for others and to know whether you're in a holy or unholy relationship with every person you're involved with. That is one thing that I am learning about now, is the holy and unholy relationships that I have. I want, by reading this book, it's in me to want to see the goodness in everybody, but you do have to find that holy and unholy part. See which people in your life are really good energy people for you in your life. And if they're not good energy people in your life, it's like, okay, I'm not going to be around you, but I still love you and I still wish you well, but I have moved on. I've shifted. My energy is somewhere else. The holy relationship. One truth that I've recognized during the years of my own growth is that it is impossible to know my perfection if I'm unable to see and honor that same perfection in others. That means we got to give each other our flowers. We have to start really paying attention. That's one thing. Part of self-awareness is paying attention. That's your foundation to your mental house. We have all, I hear everybody saying, well, I have squirrel memory and da 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 da, and I have ADHD. Did you always have squirrel memory? Do you not know? Or my brain darts over here. You have to practice paying attention. It's not something that you just whimsically do. No, it is practice to have to pay it, to actually pay attention to somebody. And being the mother of a special needs child, I've had 21 years to just be patient and actually pay attention to somebody and listen actively. Actively listening is part of that too. And it really makes a holy relationship, because Nation, one of the things that I don't re I when he was young, and they did a activity at school, and one of the things that he put on there is for Thanksgiving they did a turkey, and it had, I still have this turkey, and it has all these feathers on it, and one of the feathers, what he gives thanks for, what are you thankful for? And he put my mom, and it says, well, why are you thankful? And it says, because she listens to me. And that is one thing that I was noticing, and what pushed me to be and love the seven faces of intention was because I was able to really pause myself to listen to him, because he has tight jaws, and sometimes I have to get him to repeat things over and over again, and you really have to be listening to him to understand what he's saying, because he can't form all the letter sounds to words. So some of it you have to be like, okay, say that again, instead of trying to speed him through what he wants to say. So one thing is I love that. In an unholy relationship, you see yourself as separate from others. And I never want to see myself separate from others, because we are all here in this together. We are individuals, but we are not separate. The world is shifting. The energy is shifting, and I just want everybody to be mentally be where they need to be for this shift. Financially ain't gonna do nothing. You need to be mentally where you need to be for the shift, that kind of shift that's coming. People think that well, let me speak for myself. I do not think that Armageddon or any of that is going to be a physical destruction. I don't think any of that, any of that is physical. I think it's all mental. It's all mental. It's all heaven and hell in your mind. It's all how you do your adapting. It's how you do your inner work. Are you healing yourself? Are you going deep? Are you going deep, or are you staying surface level? I'm going deep, because when you die, you're not gonna get a chance to live your heaven on earth. And you never, I don't think we really go, like our physical dies, but I don't think our spirit dies. But that's a whole nother conversation. The signs of unholy relationships are quite clear. People become defensive, fearful, hostile, standoffish, and don't wish to be in your company. Woo! The signs of unholy relationships are quite clear. And I had to highlight that, because I tell you, I had an experience with someone that I looked up to and I thought was a holy relationship, but then I found out that it was not, and it was an unholy relationship, only because that person had those qualities, and they were not, I'm not sure if they were connected to their energy to know, or even to even have the emotional intelligence to know that you're projecting things onto me. And I was never none of that. When I'm saying something to you, what you're defensive. If you're in a conversation and someone is talking to you and they're talking about somebody else, but when they're talking to you, it's always, you did this to me. You're saying this about me. You're saying, no, I'm not saying anything about you. The people you're talking about is saying that. Why don't you go ahead and say their names instead of saying you? Because you're talking to me, but you're referring to them as you. And so it's like, our words are very, very powerful. And being clear of unholy relationships is one of those. And that's what God has been showing me. Like, you need to watch who you around, because there's energy vampires. You said you just went through that too. It's real. Like, it's like a spiritual awakening warfare going on here. Everybody thinks it's like, oh my gosh, God. No, this is spiritual. This is like mental that's going on in the world today. Yeah, Mother Nature, that's mental too. She going off of the energies of the world. We need to get the mental currency up. Cash in on that. Cash in on that. When you can celebrate differences in others as interesting or enjoyable, you're loosening your identity with ego. And that is so true. I try to, we are all a work in progress, and I stay so far away from judging people. I try to mind my business. And if I'm going to be judging somebody, I'm going to really be trying to judge myself. And I'm going to if I do say anything, it's always trying to give a suggestion or maybe what they could do to do this or do that. But staying in a positive mindset, even finding differences, the differences in people are just amazing to me. Some people gonna be who they are forever and never evolve or change, and we got to get used to those things. Any relationship or even an encounter from the holy perspective is a coming together with a beloved self aspect and discovering a stimulating connection with the power of intention. I love intention. Like, if you're in whatever you do, if something goes wrong, as long as your intentions were where they needed to be, you can find the lesson in it and you can move on. And that's living in balance. In we always going to be unbalanced, but that's being able to get up every day and do what you do. Examples of what happens when you consciously shift from ego dominated, unholy relationships to experiencing your connectedness through the power of intention. I urge you to establish a holy relationship with Source, the world, community, your neighbors, acquaintances, family, the animal kingdom, our planet, and yourself. It's all about relationships. And it is all about relationships, how your energy is perceived, because I went to Florida and I went to Florida on the train. And if the train, that's a 21-hour train ride to get to Orlando, Florida, to the train station. So I had scheduled my Uber ahead of time to pick me up. And I think we were like, I don't know, I think we were like maybe 2 hours away. And we were wondering, we were like, hold on, wait a minute. Did they just say that we're going to be pulling into the train station like an hour after we were supposed to be there? So I'm like, oh, snap. So now I got to go into the app, and it's already the internet on the train is already janky. So I'm in there in the app and I'm trying to figure out what to do. And I let my driver know, well, we're going to be an hour behind, and I don't know what to do because I'm trying to change the times. Well, she's like, you can change the time on the app. And I'm like, I went in there and tried to change the time. There's nowhere to change the time. But if we cancel the ride, then that's a $25 charge for me. Plus I have to get another Uber when I get there. Plus that person who the driver, she would have got, like, they have so many cancels they can get, or something happens to them, like it's a penalty. So long story short, it worked out to where, because I communicated with her and because my energy was good and I was living from the 7 phases of intention. For one, she waited on me, and I think I got there maybe an hour and a half after I was supposed to be. So she sat there with me. Two, she didn't charge me, because if they wait, they're supposed to charge you like $5 every minute or something that you're there, that they're there. She didn't charge me. And she was just so nice, to where I even left my phone in her car and she brought it back. Like, because I was in the 7 phases of intention, and I communicated, and she knew. It was like a mutual thing. Like, you helped me out and I helped you out. Boom. I loved it. It was just awesome. And it's all about the relationship. Cash in on that relationship currency too. Whew, that's what I'm working on doing now, because I pushed myself away from people because I was like, oh, y'all is a lot. But when you have to reach out to people, then you want to know who you can reach out to. And energy is a big thing for me. All right, this one is long. When you eliminate the concept of separation from your thoughts and your behavior, you begin to feel your connection to everything and everyone. You'll begin having a sense of belonging, which enables you to scoff at any thought of being separate. This feeling of connectedness originates with and helps you process all of your interactions from the point of view of equality. By recognizing others as co-creators, you match up with your source and move into a state of grace. If you're seeing yourself as either inferior and superior, you've disconnected from the power of intention. Your desires will be frustrated unless you connect with the support and support other people. And right there, you match up with your source and move into a state of grace. I have gotten so much grace over these last few years that I had to come and make this the first book that I introduce my air method with, that I just put out into the world, that I talk about, that I share my feelings on, because this book did that for me. This book gave me the grace. The 7 Phases of Intention are serious. Write them down and read them, whether you say the words, just the words to yourself, it'll sink in. And you'll start to see how each of those 7 phases of intention takes part in your life. And March, we're not going to have a book. March, we're not going to have a book. It's going to be review of January and February. It's just going to be a whole review. That way we can catch up on January and we can catch up on February and just have discussions about both of those books. So March is going to be like the reflection, the mindfulness and inner work part of this 2024 journey that we're taking this first year in the Air Method Network. The tribe, community, however you want to think of it. Where was I at? By recognizing, no, we read that one. How you interact with your universal support team is significant. How you view others is a projection of how you view yourself. Consistently seeing others as worthless means that you're erecting a roadblock for your potential allies. See others as weak and you're simultaneously attracting weak energies. Persistently viewing others as dishonest, lazy, sinful, and so on may mean you need to feel superior. Constantly seeing others critically can be a way of compensating for something you fear. But you don't even need to understand this psychological mechanism. As you have, all you have to do is recognize how you view others. If there's a pattern of seeing others as failures, you only need to notice the pattern of evidence of what you're attracting into your life. And this just goes to show what I was talking about with the person that I got into that just was unholy. The relationship was unholy, was because that person was not in touch with the 7 phases of intention. They were projecting like let me tell you, it was everything that I just read is what they were doing. They were just seeing what other, just downing others, but trying to make it like they were uplifting. It was just weird. It was weird. Now, in the section from extraordinary to extraordinary, like, let me go back to that. Consistently see how you interact with your universal support team is significant. How you view others is a projection of how you view yourself. That's what I meant. And I think that's what happened. That's what happened. It's like when you're mirroring and you're seeing something in somebody else, but it's you that you see, because it got to the point where at one time I started matching her energy. Put it like that. The energy that she was giving me, it just started to where her energy took over my energy and I was matching her energy, and I do not like to do that. I do not like to do that. So it started to happen, and I basically, what happens to me is when I get overwhelmed, I get overstimulated, I start crying, and I had to shut it down. Like, this is you and this is me. I got way too much in my own to be trying to be in with yours. So it's like, watch the energy that you're around and those unholy relationships. The power of intention occurs when you're synchronized with the all creating universal force, which is anything but ordinary. This is the power that's responsible for all of creation. It's ever expansive and thinks and creates in terms of endless abundance. When you shift to this higher energy and resonate more in harmony with intention, you become a magnet for attracting more of this energy into your world. You also have this kind of impact on everyone and everything you're in contact with. And that, I love that. I love being an impact on people to where I inspire them to do something or to be better. Because mental currency, that's where we're at. We're shifting. It's a shift. The universal force of intention never complains. It creates and offers its options for greatness. It judges no one and isn't stuck wishing and hoping things will improve. It's too busy creating beauty to be so foolishly engaged. As you move your own energy level up out of a rut mentality, you'll have an uplifting effect on the rut dwellers in your life. And that, let me tell you, the power of intention and moving through life without complaining. Like, there's so many people that I know that complain, and I have learned that complaining will not get you anywhere. It will not get you anywhere. It happened, thing, move on. Do not get stuck in there. All right. Miss Kenny said, I thought the world of this lady, but all of a sudden I didn't know who she was. I couldn't sleep. I prayed about it, and she just became a huge block for my yes. And it's crazy how energies can affect us like that. I had to do the same thing. I had to like ask for clarity, and I'm still working that whole what happened, and trying to see if I need to work on any relationships that she may have that may have happened. You said, but she gone now. She left on her own, and that's what happened. They will remove themselves from the light. Removing themselves from the light. All right, now how your energies impact others. When you feel connected and in harmony with intention, you sense a major difference in how other people react to you. Be cognizant of these reactions because they'll bear directly on your abilities to fulfill your individual intentions. Whew. The more closely you automatically resonate to the frequencies of the universal all-creating source, the more that others will be impacted and their lower energies nullified. They'll gravitate towards you, bringing peace, joy, love, beauty, and abundance into your lives. And if not, those are the people you need to let them be where they're at, and let them their process be their process and how they grow, because they can't learn anything from you and you can't learn anything from them. Here are some of the most significant ways in which you'll impact others. And your presence instills calmness. I have been told that many of time. Today I was just told that again. Yesterday I was told that. The power of intention is the power of love and receptivity. And when I found this book and just started living the 7 phases of intention, joy, and I will say I get up happy just like Nation does. He wakes up every day like he learns so much from him. He like lives these 7 phases of intention without even knowing what it is. He don't even know what it is, and he lives source. He just wakes up happy. If he goes through something, he goes through it and he moves past it, and he's back to where he was. He don't dwell in it. He doesn't complain. He doesn't judge people. Like, As people feel calmer in your presence, they're inclined to feel safe by virtue of the energy frequencies that you radiate. Their feelings are encouraged by your energy of love and receptivity, causing them to want to reach out and be with you. As Walt Whitman put it, we convince by our presence. And that right there, let me give you a story. I learned about our presence instills calmness. I learned about energy transference when he was young. He was like maybe 6 years old. So this had to be maybe like 2000. This was the early 2000s. And he was 6 years old. And back then we thought he had seizure disorder, and he had to take a phenobarbital, and if he didn't get the medicine, they would have to give him a shot and all of these things. And he got into I learned early on that when he would have what they said were seizures, but it would only happen when he would miss his dose of medicine, and he would have like a withdrawal symptom, and it resembled a seizure. And I would panic, like I would go into, oh my gosh, I would tell you, I start sweating and just my heart racing, and he would feel my energy and he would go further into it. And it got so bad one time to where he had to actually be taken to the hospital, and they had to incubate him and everything. And he had to spend a couple days in the hospital. But once I learned that the calmer I was, the calmer he would be, and that he could shift out of whatever was going on mentally for him, and he could come back, and I could talk him back into it, have him breathing. We'd do breathing lessons, and he would come back to me. He would, like, it was like it would take him a while, and then he would be out after he came back, but he would come back. Is I learned to be calm. That's the first way. That's the my first lesson of being calm. So that's how I've been able to instill calmness in other people, because even when we're in a line, and it's, say we're in a line, and some people, they be antsy in the line. I can feel their antsiness, but the calmer I am, I can start to see they calm down, and then the line starts to move faster. So it's like your energy is powerful. First one, your presence instills calmness. If instead you bring the lower calibrations of judgment, hostility, anger, hatred, or depression to your interactions, you attract that level of energy if it's lurking in the people you're interacting with. So maybe that's what it is. Maybe those little things that she was going to were lurking in me, and that experience was for me to see those things and call them out. Now that I think about it, intention doesn't interact against anything. Against anything. That's the main word. People who feel empowered by your presence become kindred spirits. That can only happen if they feel safe rather than attacked, secure rather than judged, calm rather than harassed. And that is sincerely true. And if people don't want that type around, then they won't be around you. I've learned that. I've definitely learned that. Okay. Your presence leaves others feeling energized. I've heard that too. When you bring the frequencies of intention into the presence of others, they'll feel energized. Just by being in your immediate circle, you don't have to say a word. You don't have to act in any prescribed fashion. Your energy of intention alone will make others in your field feel as if they've mysteriously been empowered. As you begin consciously expressing the 7 faces of intention, you'll discover that others begin to comment on the impact you're making on them. This book is so, so good. Yeah, you said you think you invested too long. I agree. I agree on my end, because I kind of knew I shouldn't have went into this unholy relationship again in those terms that I did from the first time, but I'm getting out of the fixer the fixer part of my life, where I want to be helping everybody, where I want to help everybody, where I want to help everybody. Now I've moved into, I want to help everybody, but I'm not going to people please. I'm going to help those who come to me, who gravitate towards me and want to be in what I'm going on. I saw value and she didn't. Yep. And I feel the same way. What this person was talking about, I was trying to get her to see other ways of the 7 phases of intention, basically, is what I was trying to get her to see in what she was talking about. And it just wasn't that way. So you got to move. You got to move on. Your presence allows others to feel better about themselves. People will sense that you care about them, understand them, and are interested in them as unique individuals. With this kind of connection to intention, you're less likely to focus conversation on yourself and use others to massage your ego. Whoa, that was loaded. Paying attention. Being in the company of someone who is disdainful or indifferent impacts you quite differently, and it does. It impacted me to where I needed a couple days to myself to re-energize. Like, I was totally exhausted. Like, my energy was so depleted. These extremely low energy thoughts and behaviors are evident if you use every topic that's brought up as an excuse to talk about yourself. That's like just our whole conversation. But I was trying to, I'm in a season of listening. So I'm in the season of, I was just listening. That's what I've been doing. And I've been posting, but I've still just been in the background listening. Not peeking around the bushes or nothing. I'm just in the background listening. Any behavior similar to this Any behavior similar to this displays ego-dominated energy that impacts others unpleasantly. Moreover, it leaves others feeling as if they're insignificant or unimportant, and obviously feeling worse about themselves when it is a repeated pattern in a significant relationship. A listening and really getting to know somebody. Girl, hush. Daggone dog. Okay, your presence allows others to feel unified. The effect of being in the presence of people expressing high frequencies is to feel unified and connected to all of nature, all of humankind, and to intention. What you doing? Get from over here. This dog, I tell you, she's in her field. You're not coming up here. Low energy is demanding and always moves against others. Therefore, it will inevitably produce a win-lose condition. Those conditions. The energies of antagonism, judgment, hatred, and the like set up a counterforce in which somebody has to lose. This is all avoidable by staying connected to intention and bringing that higher energy to your relationships, allowing those you encounter to feel the oneness with you and everyone else, with nature and with God. Period. Try to do that for people, and you will start to see all of the 7 phases of intention working. And more recently, I've been seeing all of them, but for the receptivity was coming heavy the last 3 years. Receptivity was like the biggest one that just has been playing and playing and playing and playing and playing in my mind. But these ones we were focused on was creative, kindness, and love. And it's always goes back to the what you give out is what you give back. Is I definitely believe that, because in 2009 I started working over at the Cracker Barrel, And where we live, it's more white people. And it's like, we recently, when that Black Lives Matter and stuff started happening, we recently found out how racist the town was. It's changed, things are changing, but we found out how racist it was. And when I started working there, I did not know all of that. And I had somebody come in there and really call me like the house, because I was at the front of the door. I was a hostess, and I had actually had somebody come from the dining room and come up to me and like apologize for them and say, you handled that so, like, you handled that, and I see God in you, how you handled that, because you could have just took that and went somewhere else with it. And it's like, well, yeah, because I had read this book. I had read this book, and I had started living the seven phases of intention and manifesting and seeing, really seeing what abundance means and how it is unlimited for everybody. There is abundance. There is abundance. You have to put yourself in the seven phases of intention. Where was we at? Your presence instills a sense of purpose. Did we read that one? When you're in the higher spiritual energies, you bring something to others that's an unexplicable. Your presence and behavior from a space of love, acceptance, non-judgment, and kindness becomes a catalyst for others feeling on purpose in their lives. By staying at the higher energies of optimism, forgiveness, understanding, reverence for spirit, creativity, serenity, and bliss, you radiate this energy and convert lower energies to your higher vibrations. And we ain't even there yet. We ain't even there yet. To that right there, your presence instills a sense of purpose. We are all here and we all have gifts that exceed materialistic things, or I just can't even explain just the higher, if you stay at a higher energy, what it can do for your life. That is how I've stayed resilient. Do you think people take your kindness for weakness? Yes. Yes, and I've even been told by other people that people take my kindness as weakness. And other people advising me to not be so kind. But I am being reaffirmed that as long as I stay in the seven phases of intention, it don't even matter if they take my kindness for weakness, because of they weren't meant to be in my cycle. They weren't meant to be in my cipher. They weren't meant to be anywhere in my realm dealing with anything that I'm doing. I'm gonna mind my business. They gonna mind their business. But yes, I do think people take my kindness for weakness. I really do think they do. But I'm gonna stay being kind, because I want to stay in the seven phases of intention. Because I notice what happens when I don't, and I do take the advice that's not with the seven phases of intention. Stay with what resonates with you, and know God, spirit, all of that within your for yourself. My faith is strong. Like, God is right up in there. We like this. I know God got this. Your presence allows others to trust in authentic personal connections. By bringing the traits of intention to others, you allow trust to be present. You'll notice both an inclination and a willingness on the part of others to open up and confide in you. This is related to the quality of trust. In the atmosphere of higher energy, people trust and want to share their personal stories with you. By being so connected to intention, you are more godlike. And who would you trust more than God to share your secrets with? And that right there is two. If you stand in the seven phases of intention, people trust in authentic personal excuse me, personal connections. Authentic personal connections. Don't be in a connection with me because you want to get something. Be in a connection because it's going to be authentic to you. It is no use walking anywhere to preach unless our walking is our preaching. You'll ultimately discover that by carrying this energy of intention with you, even strangers will do what they can to serve you and help you accomplish your own intentions. And that is true also. I believe in walk what you preach because I am all of the things that I've been through in my life and that have happened in my life. I still do the inner work, regardless if I have make a mistake or do something. I always know that there's a lesson in it and there's something that I can learn from it, and I always evolve and move on. I see somebody else is in here. Who is that? All right, let's get this done real quick. I think we got, this chapter was long. Okay. Your presence inspires others to greatness. I love Dr. Les Brown always says that. You are greatness. When you inspire others by your presence, you're utilizing the originating power of intention for the benefit of all those you touch, including yourself. And there's this song. What is it? What are they called? Kingdom. I listened to it today. Hold on. What is it by? It's by Maverick City. Maverick City Music and Kirk Franklin, and it's called Bless Me. And it says, bless me, bless me, bless me, God, indeed. Death has been defeated. He is our victory. Bless me, God, not just for me, but everyone around me. So bless everyone around me so they can have everything they need. And I love that so much. And it goes right there. Your presence, by wanting something for somebody else, you inspire greatness. You utilize the power of intention. Your presence aligns others with beauty. When you're connected to intention, you see beauty everywhere and everything because you're radiating the quality of beauty. Your perceptual world changes dramatically. At the higher energy of intent, you see beauty in everyone, young or old, rich or poor, dark or light, with no distinctions. Everything is perceived from a perspective of appreciation rather than judgment. As you bring this feeling of beauty appreciation to the presence of others, people are inclined to see themselves as you see them. I love that so much. Your presence instills health rather than sickness. Your connection to your source keeps you focused on what you intend to manifest in your life, with no energy given to what you don't want. Oh, that is a trust the process right there. You have to really, really be intentional with that. This internal focus doesn't permit you to complain about what ails you or to think about disease, pain, or any physical difficulties. Your energy is always on creating love and expanding the perfection from which you originated. This includes your body and all of your beliefs about your physical self. You know in your heart that your body is a system of miracles. You have great reverence for its amazing capacity to heal itself and to function on its own without your interference. You know that your physical self is inspired by a divine force that beats its heart, digests its food, and grows its fingernails, and that this same force is receptive to endlessly abundant health. And that is one thing that brought me back to when I was going through chemo and stuff. Was like, you had this in your mind so much that you manifested it and turned all of that disappointment and stuff into disease because you fell out of the 7 phases of intention. Like I fell out of the 7 phases of intention, and I knew I had to get my foundation, my self-awareness back in to check where it is and needed, because we must do assessments of where we are mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, socially, financially. We have to do assessments every so often to get ourselves back where we need to be. And for me, it's getting myself back in connection with the 7 phases of intention, because some of them I was off. And it's in In fact, the higher your energy field resonates, the more you'll be able to impact others with your own healing energy. We are powerful beings. Become aware of your own amazing capacity to affect the healing and health of those around you simply by the silent presence of your energy connection to intention. This is a literal energy that emanates from you. Oh my gosh, I have so much more to go. Oh no, we don't. Chapter 5. We almost there. I'm so excited to get to this next part in this book. Your impact on the consciousness of all humanity. For me, it's getting back into coaching. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I have learned that having a coach in different areas, it's not bad. And investing in yourself, that's how you get the more physical money. That's how your business grows, is when you and how your mental grows too, how you grow individually, spiritually, all of those things. Is if it, like, my life coach is Sheikah Divine. Oh my gosh. And this young lady, she's a young lady. She's like 10 years younger than me, almost 7 years, maybe 6 years younger than me. But the wisdom that she has, and what she, just the conversations that we have, having a coach is nothing. My speaker development coach, Dr. Cheryl Wood, she helped me come out of that rut, and I've learned so much about how to outline what I'm talking about, how to pause, how to really learn to like pause and not use a lot of ums. And that was because I got to hear Dr. Les Brown, actually hear him in person speak, by the connections, that the networking, the collaborations I've been able to. Coaches are the best. Coaches are the best. Coaches are the best. It's all about investing in yourself too. So I can't wait till I'm able to really get my program out there, because it's going to be worth it. I have so much more in my brain, and I've learned that giving away everything for free is not beneficial to me. So it's like, I don't want to have to charge people, but I got to make a living too. And I ain't working no 9 to 5. I'm sorry. I'm not working a 9 to 5. I am not working a 9 to 5. I have too much information that can grow people than going to work at Cracker Barrel, serving people this food that's gonna come out and be done with them the same day, or the day before, the day after. So it's there. Remember at all times that what you think and what you do affects other people. Hell, we can end it right there. What you think and what you do affects other people. Mental currency. People need to get back into and start really thinking about these things. I'm just so amazed that everybody is so, like, that thing that's going on with Jonathan Majors. Like, people, like, they're actually killing his career over his personal life, over things that are like, that's judgment, that's judging, that's like playing God. You're like playing, and then the showing the videotape of him running from the girl and all that. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, we are really trying to be God for other people. It's crazy. Right? Seriously, people need a life. Mind your business. That's when it comes into mind your business. Because really, I don't care to know about all of that about him. I want to know about what he wants to share. Let's put it that way. When I want to know what the celebrities want to share. If it's something they don't want to share, I don't want to know about it. I want to mind my business. Mind my business. Okay, let's get back to it. Low energy people cannot distinguish truth from falsehood. They in that group think. They can be told how to think, whom to hate, whom to kill, and they can be herded into group think mentality based on such trivial details as what side of the river they were born on, where their parents and their grandparents believed, the shapes of their eyes, and the hundreds of other factors having to do with appearance and total identification with the material world. Hawkins tells us that approximately 87% of humanity calibrates at a collective energy level that weakens them. I refuse to be in group think. I refuse to be in group think. I refuse to push myself into all of these trends when they don't. The higher up the ladder of frequency of vibration, the fewer people are in those high levels. The highest levels are represented by the truly great persons who originated spiritual patterns that multitudes have followed throughout the ages. They're associated with divinity, and they set in motion attractor energy fields that influence all of humankind. That's awesome. That's like Jesus, like that's like prophets. Those are like Dr. Minister Louis Farrakhan, like uh Gandhi, like Mother Teresa, surrounded by low energy folks. Is that at your job? Because if that's at your job, I'll be telling my husband that. I be telling him all the time, the low energies, if it's about time you figure out what you can do to remove yourself from those low energies. It's time now. It's time to figure out what is that your purpose? Do you think that's your purpose? What is your purpose? It's that mind shift needs to happen, because me and low energies, I cut it off real quick. Like I nip it in the bud real quick. Like if the energy feels different, I'll remove myself and come right back and come down here until everything dissipates and we can get it together. Because I will not be around low energy people. I had to remove myself from family members too, because I was like, I can't be around the low energy. I can't do it. You have a choice. You have a choice. You have a choice on your use of your energy. And if you want to have it low or if you want to have it high, you have a choice. It's always a choice. Okay. Just below the energy level of, I stepped up one day and asked one person, did they hear about the law of attraction? You get what you think about. Some people have and will still either that ain't true, da 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 da, or they don't care, or they don't want to get deep, but they know it's there, they believe in it, but it's so much deeper than just believing it, and you have to go deep in your life to really utilize the law of attraction. Because some people can't even do that. That's why they getting what they thinking about, because they don't really understand the law of attraction. They know what it is and they can say it, but I prove that you get what you think about. And all I did was think about not getting cancer, not getting cancer, not getting cancer, not living in regret and da 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 da. When that was what I was doing, what did I do? Got cancer. It comes. All right. The high levels are represented by truly great persons who originate. We read that. They're associated with divinity and they set in motion attractive fields that influence all of humankind. Just below the energy level of pure enlightenment are the energy levels associated with the experience designated as transcendence, self-realization of God consciousness. Self-realization. Highlight that. Self-realization. Oh, I got a message. Here's Here's what those who are called saintly reside. Just below this level is the place of pure joy, and the hallmark of this state is compassion. Those who attain this level have more of a desire to use their consciousness for the benefit of life itself rather than particular individuals. Below that right there, that is how I think about when people want me to niche down when I'm doing my coaching. You need to find a niche. Who are the individuals you're talking to? Right there is the description of me. Those who attain this level have more of a desire to use their consciousness for the benefit of life itself rather than for particular individuals. That is what I want my air method to be. But I know that the way things are, you have to niche down, and I'm still, whoever comes to me, who gravitates to me and wants me to be their coach, that's how I'm going to do it. And some people are not ready for this kind of coaching, this evolutionary coaching. That's why I'm a mental resilience coach. I'm a certified goal success coach, but I like to say evolutionary coach because I'm going where people are not willing to go. Some people are not willing to go. Mm-hmm. Below the wait, okay. Yes. Below those supremely high levels, which few ever attain in a permanent way, are those levels of unconditional love, kindness, acceptance of everyone, beauty, appreciation, and on a more limited but nonetheless profound level, all of the seven phases of intention described in the opening chapters of this book. Below the levels of energy that strengthen us are the low energy levels of anger, fear, grief, apathy, guilt, hatred, judgment, and shame, all of which weaken and impact us in such a way to inhibit our connection to the universal energy level of intention. I work daily to stay out of all of those those low levels. We all are a work in progress. None of us have arrived. And if people say they have arrived and they know everything, you do not. You do not. There's always something to learn. I try to stay away from anger. I do not fear anything anymore because I already came face to face with what I feared, you know? Grief. This book helped me understand about grief and to know you don't have to live there. You don't have to live there. And it was time for those people to go, and they're still here. Their physical is not here, but they are still here. Trust me. I feel mom every day. I talk to her every day. I think about her every day. I know she's there because something will happen. Something will happen, and wherever I go, whenever I go out of town or something, wherever, I always find a frog. Like whether it's real, whether it's just apathy, guilt, oh man, hatred. I do not like hate and hatred. Those words, I push those away from my vocabulary. Judgment, I do not like judging people. I really do not like judging people. I try to stay away from the gossiping. I like I feel like it hurts my ears when people start, and it's my anxiety flares up when I get in those types of situations. That's why I'm always, if I'm around a situation where somebody's talking about somebody else, I'm always making sure that if I say something, it's always has to do with me, so that I know. And shame, whew, all of those which weaken the impact in such a way to inhibit our connection to the universe. We have to work at it every day. Trust the process. Okay. All right. Now, here we are. Here we are. My favorite. This was my favorite part. Like, here are some fascinating figures from Dr. Hawkins' research for you to contemplate as you review the impact you have on humanity, simply by being on higher rungs of the ladder of intention. These blew my mind. One individual who lives and vibrates to the energy of the optimism and a willingness to be non-judgmental of others will counterbalance the negativity of 90,000 individuals who calibrate at the lower weakening levels. One individual can affect the energy of 90,000 individuals. You can't tell me that global warming is real. That ain't no global warming. That's energy. That's the energy of the people on the planet. One individual who lives and vibrates to the energy of pure love and reverence for all of life will counterbalance the negativity of 750,000 individuals who calibrate at lower weakening levels. That's why I stay in the seven phases of intention, because I'm pushing for change and what I know the world can be. One individual who lives and vibrates to the energy of illumination, bliss, and infinite peace will counterbalance the negativity of 10 million people who calibrate at lower weakening levels. Approximately 22 such sages are alive today. One individual can affect 10 million people. I'm probably one of those people. I believe I'm a sage. I've been told I was a prophet before. When my life coach, she did my chart, it does basically say that I'm somebody who turns my human design, which I'm so glad that I found quantum human design, and it answers so many questions for me about, there's so many things that we're taught to think is devilish and voodoo-ish and all of that, but if it resonates with you, stick with it. You are amazing. I don't know. Thank you so much. Thank you. Taking in compliments is one of the things that I'm working on, and really the self-validation, it is to know it myself. It just validates it for me when people say it to me too. Thank you so much. I just want to help everybody, and I want people to, if I got to do this to people and be a teacher to people, then I'm going to be that. Let's go. I wanted to read the last one. The last one. One individual who lives and vibrates to the energy of grace, pure spirit beyond the body in a world of non-duality or complete oneness will counterbalance the negativity of 70 million people who calibrate the lower weakening levels. Approximately 10 such sages live today. 70 million people. Our energy and the way we live is powerful. It impacts the whole world. Like one individual can affect 70 million people. That is so. By raising your own frequency of vibration only slightly to a place where you regularly practice kindness, love, and receptivity, and where you see beauty and endless potential of good in others as well as yourself, you counterbalance 90,000 people somewhere on the planet who are living in the low energy levels of shame, anger, hatred, guilt, despair, depression, and so on. This is why I'm here, for that right there. I'm here to raise vibrations. I'm here to bring people aware of the energy that they carry and that they share. Like, we need to get away from all of that reality TV that's so low energy. Like, that low energy stuff is ha ha ha, cuckoo, foo foo, real funny for a minute, but that's affecting what's going on in the world. That's affecting what's going on in the world. Cha, this is it's amazing how our energies are affecting. I'll be flipping through and I'll catch one of the Zeus networks, the Bad Girls Club, and I just sit there like, do y'all not see how y'all are? Y'all see yourself on TV. Y'all think this is What are you thinking about yourself? You think you doing something? Oh, and I just giggle. I'll giggle at it and scroll on by because I'm like, oh my God, my people, my people, my people. And you look like you in your 40s. You look like you are in your 40s and you on there fighting and for a bag. Okay. But that's me. That's me. That's the shift I'm on. That's the energy. I've been on that shift. You know them commercials where they tell you starting to act like your parents? That is me. I feel Betty Lou all the time. I'm acting like I'll be in the car like, no, we is not listening to that. Turn that off. Put on a church, y'all. Put on a gospel song real quick. Put on all my old music real quick. Like I literally listen to the 90s and the 2000s. I may have some Chris Brown in there or some new Nas or something that I've heard recently that I like. But if it doesn't vibrate good for me, I can't. It starts to mess with my ears. Ooh, shoo, it's crazy. Bring the energy of intention to the presence of conflict, even in family matters, and you can nullify and convert the lower antagonistic energy with your presence. And I've had that happen. I've even had to separate because I was like, nope, until you can get it right, we can't even, because you're not even able to understand where I'm coming from. And that is one thing that we're going to be working with next month is emotional intelligence. Woo! That's why we got to take March. We got to take March as a break. March is going to be a break where we're just going to review and do the mindfulness and inner work of January and February. We're just going to review. 5 suggestions. Let's finish this chapter. 5 suggestions for implementing this chapter 5. Become aware of the importance of making all of your relationships divine. The holy relationship isn't based on any religion. The holy relationship emphasizes the unfolding of spirit in everyone. I love that. I love that. Because then it just makes you all of that, those indoctrinations fall off. When I was younger, when we first moved in like 2006, 2007, like, yeah, around that time when mom passed away, 2007, I was working on a book and it was going to be called the miseducation of indoctrinations. And it was going to be about all of the indoctrinations that have been ingrained into us since we were younger and into our parents and our parents' parents and our great great grandparents and our great 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 grandparents. These things that have been instilled in us that we push like they're so true. What I learned is if it resonates with you and it feels good with you, keep it and go. Keep it and go. That's how you stay authentic. That's how I stay authentic. And I will be authentic to the day I die. Just like I don't words are powerful, and it's also how you use the words that you use. I'll just say that. Number 2, when a question of morality arises concerning how you should act toward others, simply ask yourself, what would the Messiah do? This inner inquiry returns you to the tranquility of intention. The Messiah represents the 7 faces of intention, all manifested in a spiritual being having a human experience. In this way, you're honoring the Christ in you that is also in everyone else. And I love that, because even I love that so much because I heard in Kirk Franklin's song in his new album Father's Day, one of the songs, oh my gosh, I can't remember which song it is. Oh my goodness, what song is it? Let me pull up his. I think is in You Still Love Us. I think in that song, You Still Love Us, he has a line in there where he says that he sees Jesus and that that you'll be the Jesus that they see when you give people grace, when you be in. I was like, oh, that is it right there. We all can be a Jesus. Like, you ain't got to. Woo. That's a whole nother discussion on being, knowing a religion versus being in a religion. That's a whole nother relationship. That's a whole nother conversation. That's a whole nother realism, going deep in it. Okay. Number 3, keep track of the judgments you direct toward yourself and others. I have been doing that. It's serious. Make a conscious effort to shift to compassionate thoughts and feelings. Offer a silent blessing to beggars rather than judging them as lazy or a drain on the economy. Your thoughts of compassion raise your level of energy and facilitate your staying connected to intention. Be compassionate toward everyone you meet, all of humanity, the entire kingdom of animal life, and our planet and cosmos as well. In return, the universal source of all life will bestow compassion upon you, helping you manifest your own individual intention. It's the law of attraction. Send out compassion, attract it back. Send out hostility and judgment, attract it back. Watch your thoughts, and when they're anything other than compassionate, change them. Period. Period. Oh, that is a process to switch them thoughts. As soon as a negative one pops in, to switch them into something positive. Number 4, whatever others want it for them so strongly that you disperse this energy outward and act from this level of spiritual consciousness. Number 5, be continually alert to the fact that simply by thinking and feeling in harmony with the 7 phases of intention, you'll counterbalance the collective negativity of a minimum of 90,000 people and perhaps millions. Just let that sink in for a minute. Just by simply thinking and feeling in harmony with the 7 phases of intention, you'll be counterbalancing the collective negativity of a minimum of 90,000 people. Nothing more than raising your own energy level to the creative, kind, loving, beautiful, ever expanding, endlessly abundant, and receptive to all without judgment frequencies. These inner attitudes will raise you to the level where your presence will impact humanity in a positive way. In autobiography of a yogi, Swami Suri Yukaswami, he tells Parmeshwar, however they pronounce these names, the deeper the self-realization of a man, the more he influences the whole universe by his subtle spiritual vibrations, and the less he himself is affected by the phenomenal flux. We must change. We must be the change we want to see in the world. Mahatma Gandhi. We must be the change. Period. That's what I work on. Chapter 6. Oh my goodness. Let me tell you. I'm only going to go through and read all the things that I highlighted, and it's not a lot. When I tell you these 2 chapters are the meat and potatoes of this book, because they go into how to be in intention, and even this chapter coming up is talking about intention and infinity. Intention and infinity. We explore beauty, expansion, abundance, and receptivities. These qualities help us see the world and our experiences through a more positive and expansive lens. And let me tell you, they do. Eternity is not the hereafter. This is it. If you don't get it here, you won't get it anywhere. Joseph Campbell. Period. Intention and infinity. Live in intention. Learn to be comfortable with the concept of infinity and see yourself as an infinite being. I urge you to look at those fears and face them directly now. The result will be permanent connection to the abundance and receptivity of the universal soul source that intends all of creation into temporary form. So see yourself as an infinite spiritual being, having an experience, human experience rather than the reverse. That is, a human being having an occasional spiritual experience. I like that. It's loaded with fear for most people. I did not even think of it that way. This shift towards seeing yourself as an infinite spiritual being having a human experience rather than the reverse, that is, a human being having an occasional spiritual experience. This is loaded with fear for most people. So good. All right, now these are, what are these? Your fear of the infinite. So, and here he's giving the certain things of, let me see, what are, these are what people are fearing. Your own death. Essentially, these are 2 points of view regarding this dilemma of your own death. The first says that we're physical bodies that are born and we go on to live for a while, and then ultimately we deteriorate, our flesh wears out, and then we die and are dead forever. This first perspective, if you embrace it, either consciously or otherwise, is terrifying from our alive viewpoint. Yes, it is. Unless you embrace the second point of view, it's completely understandable that you fear death, or you may welcome it, or you hate fear of life. The second point of view says very simply that you're eternal, an infinite soul, and a temporary expression of flesh. This second point of view says that only your physical body dies, that you were whole and perfect as you were created, and that your physicalness emanated from the universal mind of intention. That universal mind was and is formless. It's the pure energy of love, beauty, kindness, and creativity, and it can't die. Since there's no form involved, no form, no death, no boundaries, no deterioration, no flesh, no possibility of it wasting away. I wholeheartedly embrace that, and it helped me in my grieving process when mom died, because when she passed away, I wasn't able to be there, and I still feel some type of way, but I've learned to, I know she knows that I would have been there. But when I was told that she passed away, I felt this overwhelming peace in my heart, and I knew it was her letting me know that it was okay that I wasn't there and that she was okay. Because we had had a conversation before, 2 weeks before she actually passed away, and I had begged her to please don't go without me being there so that I can be there with her. And when I felt that feeling, that peace, it helped me so much. And it was because, whew, it was because I knew that our flesh is just our flesh and that we are eternal. Know that you are eternal. All right. Even an atheist doesn't have to believe in God to experience God. So we don't have to have a relationship with some other prophet or to get to God. You have two choices. Either you live in the inactive or the active side of infinity. And we're going to get into that. Your appointment with infinity. Once you get past the fear of death as the end, you merge with the infinite and feel the comfort and relief that this realization brings. And going through cancer and having to be on that brink of feeling like I was done, like it took a while for me to even get the melanin to come back into my skin. It got to the point where my papa, my daddy, he told me, he said, you look like Casper. And when I look back at, I wasn't taking pictures as often because I saw it and I felt death. I felt it. So being that I don't fear anymore because I know I'm eternal. I know because of all the people that have passed, I feel all of them. I talk to all of them. But that's how we do. Let's take a look at both of the elements in the space-time prison. That's crazy. In which we find our material bodies and all of its treasures. The space-time prison. The factor of space means that we're experiencing separation from everything, everyone and everything. This is my space as defined by my boundaries. Those are your spaces. Even your most cherished soulmate lives in a world apart from yours. No matter how close in space you get, the boundaries are separate. Whew. In space, we're always separate. Trying to imagine an infinite world without space and separation is extremely difficult until we make our appointment with infinity. Time is also a factor of separation. It keeps you separated from the power of infinity, power of intention, the seven phases of intention. Time does. Like my concept of time. I don't even try to pay attention to, oh my gosh, this bill's due this time, this bill's due time. There's always something you can do. Like I will call a company and let them know this is going to be late, and if it's going to be late, it's going to be late. Be in the moment. Stay in it. Where else? Where was I? No matter how close you are in space, to get to boundaries is separate. In space, we're always separate. Trying to imagine an infinite world without space and separation is extremely difficult until we make our appointment with infinity. Time is also a factor of separation. We're separated from all of the events and memories of our past. Everything that has happened is separate from what's happening right now. The future is also separate from the here and now where we're living. We can't know the future, and the past is lost to us. Therefore, we're separated from everything that ever was or ever will be by this mysterious illusion we call time. That's something to think about, because time is an illusion. It can go by so fast or it can go so slow. So my question to you isn't about whether you believe you have an appointment with infinity. It's about when you're going to keep that inevitable appointment. You can either do it now while you're still alive in your body, in the illusion of time and space, or you can do it at death. If you decide to make your appointment with infinity while you still live and breathe, it's like learning to die while you're alive. Once you make this transition and the transition to the active side of infinity, your fear of death dissolves and you laugh at the folly of death. Understand your true essence. Look death squarely in the face and break the shackles of slavery to that fear. You do not die. Announce it. Meditate on it. Look at it from this angle. If you're not an infinite being, what would be the purpose of your life? What will be the purpose of your life? By waking up to your infinite essence and staying connected to the seven phases of intention, you begin to free yourself of the limitations your ego has placed on you. You set in motion the guidance and assistance of the infinite universal mind to work with you. And most of all, you feel the peace that overtakes you when you expel your fear of death and mortality. The active versus the inactive side of infinity. On the active side of infinity, you're fully cognizant that you're in a body that's going to die. On this active side of infinity, you have a good grip on that trolley strap I described earlier, which is connected to intent, and you're an observer of all your sensory experiences. This may not sound like a big deal to you. However, I assure that once you move your inner awareness to the active side of infinity, you'll begin to notice miraculous happenings in your daily life. On this active side of infinity, you are first and foremost an infinite spiritual being having a temporary human experience, and you do all of your living and all of your relationships from this perspective. On the inactive side of infinity, your experience of life is quite the opposite. Here, you're first and foremost a human being having an occasional spiritual experience. Your life is guided by fear of death, a separation from others, a competitive style, and a need to dominate and be a winner. The inactive side of infinity separates you from the power of intention. Here are some of the distinctions that I see between those who live in the active side of infinity and those who deny their eternal nature and opt for the inactive side of infinity. A sense of destiny. The active side of infinity, your connection to intention will no longer be thought of as an option, but as a calling that you must heed. That's where I am at. It's a calling. If I'm not intention, I will pause. I will silence myself, and I will put myself right back into intention. I will listen to, and I will start praying. I will look, keeping myself there. Just let go of the idea that you're a body that's destined to die. Instead, seek an awareness of your immortal self. Do that inner work. Just focus on doing that. And oh, that's what I wanted to say. There was a part in what I had just read. Where was it at? And it said something that you're where your body's going to die, but where is it at? Sure. It says something like you die numerous times. Where is that at? Oh, I don't see it. There it is. It says, if you decide to make your appointment with infinity while you still live and breathe, it's like learning to die while you're alive. I wanted to come back to that because I believe I have died numerous times. And mentally died. Like that, the old version of myself has died numerous times. And I didn't really understand that until I thought about when I had Nation. And when I had Nation, that was a crazy time because it was like the hospital wasn't paying attention to me, and it was a lot of things that happened during his birth. And he actually came out and he was born dead. He didn't take his first gas barrel till 11 minutes old. And he's my angel. Like, he gives me purpose. Like, I believe that my purpose and he was meant to be for me, and I was meant to be for him, because he allowed me to be able to be this person that I am today. But I believe that I died. That old version of me that was that mother who was that, because when I tell you, when I came to, I had to really learn words all over again. It's like my memory of, I had memories, but I didn't have memories, if you can understand. Like, I knew certain things happened, but I didn't have like detailed memories of things, because that person, that part of me has died. During cancer, that person that I was before cancer happened, that person has like died. That person has died. And it's like coming, taking that thing out the back of your neck and being reborn again. And I just wanted to say that because I that was a thought that was popping in my head, and I was like, go back to that. Because instead of because it says, just let go of the idea that you're a body that's destined to die, and instead seek your awareness of your immortal self. And we are immortal. There can be only one. On the active side of infinity, you realize that it's time to do what you're destined to do. Period. You were born with potential. And this is what you were talking about, Miss Candy, when you said you got your wings. You were born with potential. You were born with goodness and trust. You were born with ideals and dreams. You were born with greatness. You were born with wings. You are not meant for crawling, so don't. You have wings. Learn to use them and fly. And that's Rumi. So use your wings. Boy, I done caught flight. A sense of the possible. Creation acts upon the everlasting possibility that anything that is thought of can be. Real talk, real life, facts. Yes, we have wings. Anything that is thought can be. You can manifest disease. Be careful. The power of intention involves staying on the active side of infinite possibilities. George Bernard Shaw says, "You see things as they are and you say, why? But I dream things that never were and say, why not?" That's one of the quotes. A sense of awe is one. The active side of infinity inspires a sense of awe. When you're in a sense of state of awe, you're in persistent state of gratitude. Perhaps the surest way to happiness and fulfillment in a life is to thank and praise your source for everything that happens to you. Then, even when a calamity arises, you can be assured that you'll turn it into a blessing. Thank you, God. That is what the seven faces of intention. Staying in a state of gratitude. I am grateful and thankful every single day I get up and say thank you. And just gratitude for everything. For the grass. Gratitude for the light turning green when I needed it to turn green. Just grateful for everything. Being in a state of gratitude actually creates magnetism. And of course, a magnet draws things to itself. By giving authentic thanks for all the good you have, as well as the challenges through this magnetism, you'll start the flow of more good into your life. Every successful person I know is grateful for everything they have. This process of giving thanks opens the door for more to come. It's how being in active infinity works. A sense of humility. Your purpose will only be found in service to others and in being connected to something far greater than your body, mind, ego. I believe that. I believe we all have a gift that we can share that will allow us to generate that physical revenue, generate that mental currency, that relationship currency, the connections that we need, the networking that we need. This shift is coming. This shift is coming. All right, good night. I'm almost done. Okay, you have an early morning. Well, make sure you know what time you cut in because I'm almost done. I only got a couple pages left. We almost done. Okay. A sense of humility. Your purpose will only be found in service to others and in being connected to something far greater than your mind, body, ego. A sense of generosity. When you're on the active side of infinity, giving is your nature. The more you give of yourself, no matter how little, the more you open the door to your life, the open door for life to pour in. Ooh, generosity. Give of yourself. The power of intention is paradoxically experienced through what you're willing to give others. Intention is a field of energy which is an emanating infinite supply. What can you give if you don't have money to give? And he says, I love Swami Savani's advice, and I encourage you to consider it here. Everything that he suggests, you own infinite amounts of. The best thing to give your enemy is forgiveness, to an opponent, tolerance, to a friend, your heart, to your child, a good example, to your father, difference, to your mother, conduct that will make her proud of you, to yourself, respect, to all men, charity. Make giving a way of life. It is, after all, what source and nature do eternally. We move on to a sense of knowing. Your infinite source of intention has no doubt. It knows, and consequently it acts upon knowing. This is what will happen for you when you live on the active state of infinity. All doubt flies out of your heart forever. As an infinite being in a temporary human form, you'll identify yourself primarily on the basis of your spiritual nature. Discarding doubt is a decision to connect to your original self. This is the mark of people who live self-actualized lives. They think in no limit, infinite ways. One of the no limit qualities is the ability to think and act as if they'd like to have what they'd like to have is already present. Here's my advice for accessing the power of intention. Stay on the active side of the infinite, where all of the energy for creation exists in everlasting supply. Night and day, dream of what you intend to do and what you intend to be, and those dreams will interpret your intentions. Let no doubt into your dreams and intentions. Almost done. A sense of passion. The word enthusiasm translates to a God within. Did not know that. And that's in the Greeks. The Greeks give us the word, one of the most beautiful words of our language, enthusiasm. Within you is an infinite, passionate soul that wishes to express itself. It's the God within you urging you to fulfill a deep sense of what you were meant to be. All of our acts are measured by the inspiration from which they originate. When your act displays the seven faces of intention, they spring from a God residing within you. This is enthusiasm. When you emulate the power of intention, this is where you feel the passion you were intended to feel and alive and live. If you want to feel great, look in the mirror and say to your image, I am eternal. This image will fade, but I am infinite. I am here temporarily for a reason. I will be passionate about all that I do. Then notice how you feel as you stare at your reflection. Being cheerful is a wondrous side benefit of enthusiasm. It comes from being in the active side of infinity, where there's absolutely nothing to feel bad about. A sense of belonging. The active side of infinity inspires not only a strong sense of belonging, but a strong feeling of connectedness to everyone and everything in the cosmos. It's impossible for you to not belong because your presence here is evidence that the divine universal source intended you here. We're almost to this 5 suggestions and then we're done. I assure you that staying on the active side of infinity and reminding yourself of it regularly will put you in a position to manifest your desires. And I second that notion. Okay, so here are the 5 suggestions for implementing the ideas in this chapter. Number 1, since you already know that you have an appointment with infinity and that you're ultimately required to leave this corporal world behind, make the decision to do so sooner rather than later. So basically, he's saying, say this affirmation to your, in fact, today, right now, it's a great time to keep that appointment and get it over with once and for all. Simply announce to yourself, I'm no longer identified by this body, mind, and I reject this label from this moment on. I'm infinite. I'm one with all of humanity. I'm one with my source, and this is how I choose to view myself from this day forward, period. Number 2, repeat this mantra to yourself daily as you remind yourself that God wouldn't and couldn't create something that doesn't last. I will exist for all eternity. Just as love is eternal, so is my true nature. I'll never be afraid again because I am forever. Number 3, in a meditative stance, consider the 2 choices of belief on this concept of infinity. So that's the infinite, the active or inactive. Your place in the active side of infinity assures you of a feeling of security, love, and permanent connection to intention. Number 4, in any moment in which you find yourself thinking low energy thoughts of fear, despair, worry, sadness, anxiety, guilt, or so on, just for a moment, stop and consider whether it makes any sense from the perspective of the active side of infinity. Knowing that you're here forever and always connected to your source will give you an entirely new look. So just think, you connected to source at all times, and there's no need to be in any of those. Number 5, last one, being aware of your infinite nature and staying in infinity's active side allows you to feel the presence of these souls who can't die and did not die. And that's the part of those. Take a few moments to reflect on the people you were close to and loved and have crossed over. That's number 5. Take a few moments to reflect on the people you were close to and loved who have crossed over. Being aware of your infinite nature and staying in infinity's active side allows you to feel the presence of these souls who can't die and did not die. You can not only communicate and feel the presence of those who've crossed over, you yourself can die while you're alive and rid yourself now of these shadows and darkness by living the active side of infinity. And that's what I was telling you about when I said that I think I've died numerous times, because that it says it right there. You can not only communicate with and feel the presence of those who've crossed over, you yourself can die while you're alive and rid yourself now of these shadows and darkness by living in an active side of infinity. This book is awesome. The 2 chapters that we just went over, we recapped, were awesome. Get this for your library so you can have a physical copy and revisit the book often. We can have all the books we want on our shelves and stuff, but if we're not revisiting these books and these concepts, and I find that when I'm reading, I'm highlighting, but I'm also writing it down because that helps me too. I'm like a visual, what do you call it? Audio and kinetic, however you call those, but I'm both of those. So I have to write it and read it. And repetition is the key to mental ownership. So the more you review something, the more you get it in your head, the more you say those 7 phases of intention, the more you'll start to see and be like, oh my gosh, this is beautiful. Look, everything is beautiful to me. I see good in everything. But that is the recap of chapters 5 and 6. Oh my gosh, we are pushing into the week. What we're going to be doing, 5, 6. We did 5 and 6. We're doing 7, 8, 9, 10. I think we're doing a lot of we're going through this next week. So the audiobook is pinned to the top of the group. For those who do not know, if you are on YouTube and you want to come over to the Air Method Network, when you see this, come on over, put in your thing so I can approve you, and you will be in and you will get all of the things that you're not seeing over here on YouTube. You're going to get those over on the Facebook group. We will be doing, just check it out. March is going to be the catch-up time. So if you feel that you're behind in even on all the posts that I made, just like I am, I'm going to be taking the time in March to go back and do all of the things that I didn't get in to each of those posts. I'm going to go down and I'm going to be involved. It's engagement. All right. Now, in the book that we're doing for February, I did not find a good audiobook for that. If you want, you can get there. The audiobook is available on Audible, but I don't have that program. You have to actually pay for that. So it's a small book. It's not that big. It's a small book. And I got mine right at Barnes and Noble. I love Barnes and Noble. So, but this is the book that we're focusing on. And reminder, March is going to be on it. There will be no Saturday recap, but we'll get to that in February. Go Ravens. Okay, tomorrow's the Ravens games, and then Sunday is the next game, right? And we find out who goes to the Super Bowl. I will be in Jamaica. So when we're reading the second, I leave for Jamaica February 9th. We'll be doing this book. And I will be fully active with you guys. Well, as much as I can while I'm in Jamaica. But I'm going to be reading this book with you guys. I'm going to have my notebook. I'm going to be answering the questions. I already have all of the posts set for you guys. So yes, Miss Candy, I am going to enjoy. Me and my sister are going. This is not a business trip. Like all last year, I was business tripping. This Costa Rica was even like a business trip because I was learning things. We were actually growing. We were actually doing personal development for that trip. But this trip is like relax, and I want to really hone in on my emotional intelligence and really take all the posts that I've scheduled for you guys and answer them because they're really insightful, and I really believe that these are things to get our mental currency up. But thank you so much, Candy, Miss Candy. I really do appreciate you being in here with me, commenting and actually taking your mental currency and cashing it in and actually reading, listening to Dr. Wayne and actually really start. We're going to start answering them posts. That's what I want for March. That's going to be the whole thing of March is get January's posts, some answers on those, and February's posts. But good night, good night, good night. I'm going to let you go because you got an early morning, and so do I. Happy weekend. Go Ravens. Thank you so much, Miss Candy, for posting on your page. And if you are interested in actually investing in coaching and let me know if you want know more about the actual Air Method program. Let me know and we can set up a foundation focus chat. But good night and go Ravens. Go Ravens. Go Ravens. Go Ravens. Good night, you all. Good night, Facebooky and YouTubies. My vibrations, as I call them. Good night, good night.